if you're of the opposite sex, right? You're with somebody long enough, somebody, it might not be both at the same time, but somebody is going to feel some kind of feelings at some point.
But I don't feel like he does not believe that you can be. Is it platonic? He doesn't feel like.
One, two, mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
My bad. So, welcome to Shabbat Conversations with the Avads. I am Shad.
I'm Chris.
All right, so we are back. It's been a while. And
we've been
life. Been up and down under the weather. This winter storm been going kind of crazy. Anyways, so for today's topic, we'll be talking about friends. All right. What is a true friend? How do you define friendship? What is the importance of friendship? Especially, being a total believer or just, whatever it is you believe, right? So I guess we'll go ahead and kind of get started on this. So we'll start first. Let's define friendship. What is a friend? What does it mean to be a true friend? You want me to start? You can start off. What do you want me to start off?
It's your show.
It's our show. You're not a guest. It's our show. Okay? It's our show.
I'm the one selling the records. They coming to see me.
They coming to see the Temptations.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
You can start.
Okay. I guess I'll start. So, I believe a true friend or a friend is someone that is reliable and real. Okay? That's my criteria for a friend. Reliable and real. When I mean reliable, I mean someone that you can trust, someone that that'll go to bat for you, someone that if you call them, they're going to give you a straightforward answer, whether they can help, whether they're in a bind, whether they can help later. They're just reliable people, right? Trustworthy people, people that don't fluff, flake, reliable. And real is that in order to be a true friend, in my opinion, you should be someone that can say what's on your mind. Like I can be able to speak my mind with my friend and we don't fall out. Like we can have disagreements and we can still be cool. Well, for me, that's what I denote as true friendship. Even the scriptures talk about being able to lay down your life for your friend, right? Someone that you consider like a friend or like a brother, right? So yeah, that's what I look at as a true friend. So what about you? What you think?
I think mine is similar. I think essentially I wouldn't say redefining, but I'm starting to see what like a true friendship is as I get older. I think one thing I'm starting to notice is like, for me, like you said, reliability. I should be able to feel like if I'm going through something and I could talk to you about it and you could actually help. Not just me talking to you about it and we just like gossiping about the situation, or I don't really feel like I gain any insight. And sometimes you talk to your friend and might not be able to help you in the moment, but they are here to listen to. So it's just reliability. It should be a two-way thing. Like you can tell me your problems and I can also tell you my problems. Right. It's not one-sided.
So you believe that if a friendship is one-sided, it's not a true friendship?
I think it'd be a true friendship.
What you think about that though?
It might be a friendship, but I think it's levels. What I'm realizing as I get older, there's levels to friendships. Like, I think I've always growing up, especially, and even into college for a little bit, it was like I feel like I would call somebody my friend just because we hung out. But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see like you can be cool with somebody and they not necessarily be a friend. I'm starting to take the word friend not as lightly as I did in the past.
Right.
Like, just I'm cool with, or I go out with, or like hang out with, especially in college. It's nothing to hang out with people. You hung out with people in college you haven't spoken to since the day y'all left campus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you probably would consider them friends when you were in college, but they weren't actually. They were really just associates. So
right.
I'm trying to see what the definition of a friend is truly, or at least my definition. I think everybody's definition will be different. But like what I consider a friend now is like somebody I feel like I could, if I'm going through, and it don't always have to be negative, but if I'm going through positive things, like that's the first person I'm gonna call and talk to, or like if I do need advice on something, that's the person I'll go to ask for advice. And to me, I need to feel like I can get sound advice, i.e., godly advice, somebody I can get counsel from.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, and it's two way. Like it's just not always a give.
Right.
It's a give and take. So it's like I feel like I can give good godly advice to you, and I can get that in return as well.
Right.
Like, so
yeah, that's interesting because, like we were talking about friends, right? And we're talking about how it's a two-way street, and you should be someone. A friend should be someone that's reliable, can be real. You can go to and confide in with stuff, trustworthy, all that stuff. But being believers, I have another question. Do you believe that we should still be friends with people if it's one-sided? Like, can we still be friends with people and it be one-sided? Like, or should we be friends with people and it's one-sided?
Like you feel like they
benefiting
from the relationship, but you not really benefiting from it.
Correct. Should we still be
I don't
friends
think
with
there's
people
wrong
like
with
that?
it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it because it might be now that you feel like you're the one that's giving the giving, and then down the line, years down the line, then the roles may reverse.
That's true.
Or you feel like that, and I think some of it, not in a bad way. I feel like that was relationships that I had before becoming an adult. I feel like now I have two-way relationships. The relationships I had like in high school, even some to a certain extent in college. I feel like I was always the one that was like the friend people came to for advice, but I never really felt super comfortable with a lot of people I hung out with to ask them for advice. I just kind of dealt with stuff by myself. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with having those relationships. I think they're beneficial too. For me personally, I have always took it to the standpoint of like people come to me for advice, so I need to make sure I'm on my P's and Q's. Like I need to make sure, especially if I'm looked to as like the quote unquote godly friend or whatever.
Right.
It's like, okay, I got to make sure I understand. I know. What did they say? You have to be ready to have a season answer, whatever the verse is, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like be ready in and out of season or whatever. So it's like that was me. That was motivation for me to study more, to like make sure I had answers for when my friends came to me with questions. Yeah. So that was my motivation. Why I didn't see a reason to like not be friends with people that I feel like
you're doing all the giving.
Yeah, I didn't. Right. It is draining, but I never was like, well, I feel like this is one. I know people fall out about that stuff. So I feel like the relationship one side is I'm about to cut it off. I'm not a cut off friend though. Like I'm not a cancel culture friend.
That's it. Yeah.
That's just not me.
You should be that way because, when you cut people off because you feel like you're burnt out or you're doing too much giving, then it's like, are you really being a good friend? Are you really, showing light? When you decide, there's a cutoff point, because Christ didn't have cutoff points. Yeah. He allowed people to cut themselves off from him, but he's not doing the cutting off. Like if you decide to want to cut off because of what he's doing, because of what he's saying, then that's on you. But I'm gonna be there for you, even when you sick, even when you not well, even when you feel like you need something. He was there. So like we should be the same way. Like we should be there for people, even if you feel like right. So like, so even when you
reciprocate, I guess reciprocate.
Yeah, reciprocate. So even when you were saying about that's what I mean. So you were just talking about being ready in the season, out of season, having that answer ready, as the scriptures talk about being ready, making sure you have an answer for when questions arise, right? And I think that's important, right? That is important. But at the same time, I think a real friend can also be transparent. Yeah. Can also, if you don't have an answer, it's okay to not have an answer. For sure. And it's also okay to, it's also okay to not be perfect. Like your friend doesn't have to look at you as perfect, even though you are the quote unquote spiritual guidance in the friend group. Because sometimes, us as believers, if you're watching, you may be that person that is the spiritual guidance counselor for the group, right? And people look to you for godly advice. They look to you for, whatever it is that they may need in their life. It's okay to give just regular answers, to not know stuff, and to be transparent with your own flaws and mishaps, because nobody's perfect. Even if you are the quote unquote, head honcho in the group, we still deal with issues. We still have trial tribulations. We still have our own mental battles too. So don't get that misconstrued. There's nobody on earth that is perfect. So you can be transparent with your friend to let them know, hey man, shoot, hey, I'm gonna do the same thing. Shoot, I still don't know how to deal with A, B, and C, or hey, I'm still struggling with this, and this. You don't have to always have this seasoned answer as if you've made it through. Sometimes as friends, we can go through stuff together. We can try to figure it out together. Now that helps just as much, because sometimes it's very fairy tale-ish when you always have the right answer to everything. It's like, and your friend is looking at it like,
you're not relatable.
it's just now you become unrelatable. So like that's also part of true friendship too. Like you don't have to be so stiff and so
Know it all.
and such a know-it-all and self-righteous with every single answer you give. Like, you could be yourself. You can still be righteous and be yourself. Being yourself is okay. It's part of your journey. You can be yourself. You don't have to be someone that you're not, or try to portray something that you're not, because God sees all your flaws and He knows what you're dealing with. So it's okay to be yourself. Pretty well into our next topic. So we're talking about friendships. We're talking about we was talking about being the head honcho of our friend groups and how to deal.
I never said I was head honcho.
Okay, what you say? What's the word you use?
I didn't use any word.
The spiritual guidance person of the group. You should use something, whatever. Anyways, so we was talking about how to deal with friends when they come to you with questions and stuff like that. But I think now it's important to talk about, what it's like being a friend to people that may think differently than you, right? So, especially a lot of Torah believers or people that follow the Torah, the Tanakh, and the New Testament, or those that are Messianic Jews or Messianic Israelites. I know a lot of us, right, are gonna, especially when we're talking about people that start talking about family, we're talking about people at work, people like that, you're gonna be dealing with people that think differently than you. You might become friends with people that think differently than you. So, just from your perspective, since we've talked about all these different things, how do you deal with friends that may think differently than you? Because we have a lot of people that like Israelites. I'm not trying to bash certain Israelites, but there are certain groups of quote unquote Torah believers that isolate from people that think differently or treat people differently because they think differently. So how do you, right, as a Messianic Jew or Israelite, or whatever we want to call ourselves, titles aren't that important to us, but whatever. How do you deal with friends that think differently?
I've had to navigate that a lot. Most of my friends from college, I would say, believe. All my friends are Bible believers, but
Correct.
Don't necessarily follow Torah, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Correct.
Well, I say the majority of my friends. I can't say all my friends.
All
The
of
majority of my friends are Bible believers, but don't necessarily follow Torah.
Right.
So we don't believe all the same things together. So I think that my friends that are Bible believers, we just talk about commonalities that we have with what we both believe with the Bible. And if they're seeking advice, then I can still give them biblical advice because I still believe in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something that we differ or beliefs on, I just always kind of give them my advice, and I just say, this is my beliefs. I just always, asterisk, this is my beliefs. You don't have to believe this way. This is my belief. This is the way I operate. So I haven't found any issues with dealing with being friends with people who are not of the same belief. I think you can coexist, even be good friends with people who are not of the same belief, as long as you have boundaries set, and as long as you respect them and they respect you.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like, it just has to be this mutual respect, and I think if you are up and honest from the jump about the differences that y'all have, oftentimes they can be. I don't want to say overlooked because I'm not. If they're doing something that I think is wrong, or I'm doing something they think is wrong, I'm not overlooking it. But it's just, you're not gonna believe 100% with anybody. So, but all my best friends believe. I would say not all. The good majority of my best friends believe differently than me, and I've had no issues with us. Like, they ask my questions. What do I believe? And why do I believe what I believe?
Right.
I speak my piece about it. I'm not an argumentative person. I think that also makes a difference.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'm very non-confrontational, so like, I'm not about to get into it. If you,
Oh, you want something too, old man? Huh? No.
If you disagree with what I believe, I'm definitely not gonna get into you about what you believe.
Yeah,
disagree with you.
Yeah.
It's just the point. It's starting an argument, but I've dealt too much with that in the past, with like confrontations around what I believe, and I refuse to be put back in that.
It is a lot to deal with.
That mental space of like,
especially when you're not confrontational,
trying to argue all the time about it. So I'm to the point where I'm not gonna argue. If we disagree on something, we just not gonna agree. We won't speak about it.
Right.
And I haven't had any run-ins where it made me lose my friendships.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe the way they believe. Because I speak my piece. And I think all my friends, I would say all my friends respect my differences in opinions about certain things. And even when I speak my piece, if I believe something they're doing is wrong, I have a relationship with my friends to voice that opinion and not to fall out. But also, I'm not a cancel culture friend, so I don't really have cancel culture friends. So
so when we talk about friends with different beliefs, in my opinion, like what you said, it shouldn't be that difficult to be friends with people with different beliefs, right? Because for one, even if you are of the same religion, right, there still are differences with people that believe the same thing, right? So you got people that are Muslims that believe differently, right? You have different sects. You have different sects of Christianity. You have different, even sects of Judaism, right? Or Torah believers. There's different sects of them too. People that are Messianic, people that are not Messianic, people that are literal followers of the letter of the law, and those that look at it from a spiritual aspect. I mean, you just got so many different belief systems, even within each religious sector, that you should really understand that you have to look at each person based off of their heart's desire to want to love God and their morality level, right? Because at the end of the day, I think that's what's important, not doctrine. So I think what's the problem with a lot of religions is you're so indoctrinated, or you're in this box to believe this thing, and if you don't believe this, then you're the devil, you're a sinner, you're this, I can't fool with you. You're in that kind of mindset to where.
But it's not salvational things. Like it's
so
that's like that's not even a big deal.
Right, like the skirts or the head wrap, and even if things are salvational, like for us as Torah believers, we believe that the Sabbath is salvational. We believe that the high holy festivals are salvational. These are salvational things, but at the same time, if you don't necessarily believe to a T what we believe, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I believe, like for instance, we talk about the Noahide laws, right? Just the basic moral laws that all human beings are governed by, like the murder, sexual immorality, incest, lusting after children if you're an adult, lusting after family members, lying, stealing, respecting your elders or your father or your mother, things of that nature. Like, these are just normal things that every human being grow up knowing. Okay, this is right, this is wrong. Well, I guess most people understand, okay, this is right, this is wrong. Now, all the particulars of how we get to that, people practice things differently. So I think a lot of things come down to ritualistic practices, right? Where certain people follow holidays. Some people do the holy days of the Bible. Some people, Ramadan and just different things. Egyptian people do certain practices. I mean, you have people that practice different things. But at the end of the day, we should at least be able to be cordial enough to where, okay, we believe there's right and wrong, at least. And everything else, we don't have to talk about, we don't have to discuss. This is my ritual practices. Those are your ritual practices. This is where I believe things to be done to get close to God. That's what you believe things to be done to get close to God. And we can just build around that. Because once again, nobody believes the exact same thing anyway. People are going to believe different things, right? You can't put God in the box. There are so many different people that are different with different belief systems have points. They have things that make sense, right? But not everything's gonna make sense to everybody at all times. But we should be able to still be able to be friends, be cordial.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to me. It comes down to respect, and I just always think about it from the standpoint of like, if I can't be a friend to it, and not to the point that I don't jump to friendship thinking I'm gonna change anybody's mind or about what they believe.
You
That's not my goal.
Because the scriptures say the Father does the drawing.
Yeah, so it's like, but if I have become friends with you, and if I can't even be friends with you, say that was my goal. If I can't even get to the point where we are mutually friends, respect each other, then if my goal was to quote unquote win you over, if I can't even be friends with you past like minor differences, then they would never be curious to even know what it is that we believe or how we believe. So I think some people get that. It's like, oh, I can't be friends with you because you don't believe the same way I do. And me being, especially being from a scientific background, like I'm around a lot of people from. I think I'm the only African American in my program. There's only 6 Americans in my program, period. And so we have a lot of foreign students who don't have the same religious background as me or as anybody really from America. Just a lot of hodgepodge of different religious groups. But I mean, I'm still working with them. I enjoy having conversations about other people's religion. That doesn't mean you're gonna flip religions, but it's just interesting. Like I just enjoy having those conversations, enjoy understanding how people grew up, their belief system, how they govern themselves, especially how they raise kids now that we have kids. It's just different. My lab mate is from Bangladesh and he is Muslim. So it's just like we've had a lot of conversations. We've been lab mates for almost 3 years now. We have a lot of conversations about religion and the differences that we have about our religion and the similarities we have about our religion. It's just, it makes you look deeper. To me, it makes me look deeper into my religion just out of curiosity of like, because they ask questions that's like, I mean, I've thought that way my whole life, so I never really thought about that question or how you attack that standpoint. For instance, I had my advisor and my research advisor from undergrad was also a Muslim. He's from Kenya, and I remember we would sit there and talk about religion just like a lot. And I was young, 18, 19, and we would just have a lot of conversation about religion, and he would ask questions just like, explain to me the Trinity. And it was like, but I'm usually when you have these conversations with other believers, other Christians, other people who believe the Bible, who have grown up believing the Bible, like we all have the same like answer to those questions. And it's not a bad thing. It's like more than likely you've heard the same like breakdown of those passages in the Bible, or like you've heard the same. So it's kind of like you hear the same answer over and over again. But to somebody, it kind of makes sense because I've heard that answer before in church. I might not understand it 100%, but like I've heard my mama say or heard my daddy say, like that's usually what it is.
Right.
But when you have that same conversation with somebody who has no foreseen knowledge,
right,
it really it's a challenge to try to explain a foreign concept to somebody who has no knowledge of that thing. So it really makes you have to know what you're talking about. So that if I don't get anything else from like being friends or being cordial with people who are not in the same religious beliefs as me, it sharpens me from the standpoint of like when we have these, I don't shy away from those conversations because one, I'm interested. I cannot expect to be able to share my religious beliefs with you if I'm not open for you to share yours with me. Yeah, that's not valid. Sense. Like that's not fair. Like they're not gonna want to hear from me if I'm not even open to hearing from them. Yeah. And to hear it does not mean you agree or that you're going to be converted. But it's just like, I want this to be a safe space. And that's what I always try to, any of my friendships, I just want my relationship to always be a safe space for you to share whatever it is you want to share. And I want it to be a safe space for me to share whatever I need to share. Yeah. And if that's in response to what you share to me or bringing up another topic. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is like, I don't shy away from relationships with people who don't have the same religious beliefs as me because you never know what, God could be working on their heart and you could be the play. You can be the person that he's doing it through,
mm-hmm.
or it just be a way for you to grow spiritually because you can have conversations that are challenging and things that challenge your own faith that you may not ever have because you're being asked questions from a different perspective.
Exactly.
What's in your circle. So that's why I don't shy away from those. But I've not always been like that. I think coming to college, I was scared to have those conversations with people because I had only ever been in like Christian circles.
Yeah, you didn't want to your face to be tested to the point where
I think I subconsciously think like, oh, I don't need to talk to people who aren't like quote unquote like me because maybe I did. I guess I wasn't. I don't know. I didn't have faith in my own faith. I don't know. So I was definitely not like that. But you kind of have to be. I don't want to say open but you have to be welcoming of other people.
You just gotta be welcoming because people are different.
Of other people's beliefs because everybody, especially now in today's time, everybody's not gonna believe the same way you are.
Yeah.
So this foster a community or a relationship where people can be free to explain their beliefs. So then in turn you can explain yours.
Yeah, because you gotta think about it, man. Like, that's how God turned a lot of people's hearts towards Him.
It was friendship first.
That was of maybe a different belief or a different nationality, because He used people to foster relationships, and He used those people to shed light on how true He was. That way, people was converted. Like you look at the Exodus story, right? How the Jews or the Israelites in captivity in Egypt, right? He used Moshe, who grew up as an Egyptian. He understood the Egyptians. He grew up with Egyptian customs, and he was able to, foster relationships, right? He was able to be the mouthpiece of God, talk to Pharaoh, and through God working through him, you had a mixed multitude come out of Egypt and go into the wilderness with the Israelites. So it wasn't just Israelites that they saved also a multitude of other nationalities, Egyptians and other people that were also not Israel, right? But they were able to come out because Moses' light shined so bright that other people came out with them, right? So, we can't be so standoffish with people and think that they're going to want to inquire about Torah. Even if they never follow Torah, at least get to a point where they at least inquire about it, ask some questions about it, to where they at least respect you for following it, at least, or something. Yeah. So it's like, how can somebody go respect you if you want to be standoffish, you want to be cold, you want to have the cold shoulder, you want to, be petty because somebody doesn't think like you think. It just don't make sense. That's not how life has never been like that. Ever since the beginning of time, since the fall of man, there's been offshoots of different beliefs. So, it just shouldn't be that way, right? It just don't make no sense, So that's kind of how we deal with friends with different beliefs. Just be yourself. You can still be a Torah believing self and still just be loving, caring. Have conversations about your beliefs. They can have conversations about their beliefs. And just keep on rocking like that. I mean, it is what it is. I don't have to be mad at somebody for not.
Yeah, I think genuine people just value genuine people. So
just genuine.
That's what I've kind of picked up on. Like I've had genuine friends. Mm-hmm. I think I'm a good judge of genuine friends. I have genuine friends, and I've not had any run-ins with those people because I try to the best of my knowledge to be genuine back. So I think people respect that.
And genuine, recognize genuine. Mm-hmm. Like you could be of a different religion or a different belief or a different doctrine, and if somebody just has a heart to do right, and you have a heart to do right, then you just be kindred spirits. Like it just makes sense because even if you have doctrinal differences, I might can say something to you like, oh dang, that makes sense. I never thought about it like that. And they can say something to you, oh yeah, I never thought about it like that. Because at the end of the day, relationship with God is not about religious sections or religious sectors. It's about relationship, right? God's spoken through donkeys. He's spoken through sorcerers. He spoke through freaking a harlot. He's spoken through so many different people, and he's used different people in different ways. So like God is about relationship. It's about effort towards him, right? That's like at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? So, but that's another topic for another day. All right. So we talked about what's a true friend. We talked about dealing with friends with different beliefs. Now I think this is gonna be. It might be a little controversial. I don't know. So we'll talk about now. Boundary for friends in marriage. So like since or relationships, marriage relationships. So we're gonna focus on that. So, what are some boundaries that need to be set um, for friends in marriage while you're in a marriage? Like how, for instance, like I guess first question, right? How often should you hang out with your friends on a weekly basis? Like what's the limit, right? What do you think? Like what would be?
I mean, we never had to establish this. Yeah. Both of us are pretty homebodies.
Yeah, but we homebodies. I ain't got many friends like that.
So I don't know. I think that's different for everybody marriage, but I don't ever have to worry about that with you because you don't go nowhere. It's literally just be me. But so I feel like I set my own boundaries. I don't think you have to make up a boundary, quote unquote. But I just kind of try to set my own. Like, okay, I don't hang out twice, or I don't hang out the past 2 Sundays with somebody else. Well, I'm probably gonna scale back for the next 4 weeks. So I kind of set my own boundary, but I also don't hang out a lot. I go through spurts.
You hang out maybe like once every blue moon or like once every 2 weeks type stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It just kind of depends on. I've been hanging out a lot more now.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say the boundary. Yeah, the boundary depends on the couple, but But it's like every day. Is that too much? Like if you hang out with somebody every day, like you with your home girl or with your homeboy, like every day.
Yeah, like if y'all not working together, like we was in school, so I hung out with my friends every day while we was in school.
Yeah, y'all all together every day. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I feel like
actually like planning to go places every day. That's too much.
That's too much for me. Even if you ain't gotta say that's too much, because that's too much for my social barometer. That's too much. But no, I mean I don't really have I think it makes a difference now if you have a child. Now, if we didn't have a child, you like wanted to hang out with your boys after work, then I would probably be. I'm just not. Well, I don't think I would trip about that. But, I would trip about it now because I'm like, you leave me at home by myself all the time.
Yeah, so is it an issue to, so is that like a issue if I'm spending more time with my friends than my spouse? That's the issue, right? Like I should be spending more time with my friends.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, yeah.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, say if y'all had a running tradition of like, you don't drink like that, but say it's like after work we grab beers or whatever.
Is that the same thing as hanging out?
But I'm saying if it was just us, I wouldn't trip. But now that we have rules, then I would trip.
But why would you be?
Because you making me be by myself, like do everything by myself. But if it's just us, then I'm like, okay, I know how to take care of myself, but like I don't want to
by yourself at the house though. Like that'd be lonesome if I'm doing it every day or every.
I mean, if it's not till 8 o'clock, if you're not hanging out till 8 o'clock at night, but if just like we grabbing beers after work with nobody, we don't do that. But if that was the thing, like you was going to hang out, or this would be a good thing. Like a lot of men, after work they go play basketball. If you wanted to go play basketball every day, 3 days a week, I mean that's exercise. I wouldn't trip personally. I wouldn't trip.
Now 3 days a week.
Even if you did it 5 days a week, you like my tradition or not even tradition. It's like my routine to go play basketball after work every day.
I think it's because I'm so clingy. I think that's why I would trip. Like if you was
gone, that's what it is.
If you was gone 3-4 days out the week, I ain't gonna lie.
Well, if I'm working out,
be at the house, fam. Yeah, even that, like shoot, work at the house or something. I don't know, but to be gone 2-3 hours every day, though, like I gotta sit there and wait on you till 6-7 o'clock at night. That's kind of much, yo. I don't know if I can do all that, bro.
You have separation anxiety.
It may be because 1 day a week is too much. Yeah.
But I would trip. Now I would trip because we have room now. Then I would trip. I'm like, bro, I'm in the house by myself all the time. I gotta cook and clean up and get him a bath by myself every night. Yeah. So I would trip about that. But if it just was us, I don't think I would trip as much.
Yeah.
But my question would be. This is very controversial. It depends on people.
Oh gosh, what you gotta say, bro?
What are the boundaries when it comes to being friends of the opposite sex? Being friends with somebody of the opposite sex. So you friends with a woman.
I say this all the time. I'm not being a friend with no woman. I can be an acquaintance with a woman. I'm not being friends.
But what if you was already friends with her before we got together? What is a lifelong friend? Y'all been friends since high school before we ever met.
Then we're gonna turn to acquaintances. We're not long.
But you don't have to see. I think that's kind of weird. Like, you shouldn't have to. If I was okay with y'all being friends, now if I voice my opinion, it's like, yeah, I think I share the motive on her half or whatever, like I feel some type of way about her, then y'all probably need to stop being friends. But if I don't
so
have no
it's dangerous,
issue,
bro. It's just dangerous.
but if I don't have no issue with the girl,
so if it's a lifelong friend, right?
That don't mean y'all have to like. But that's the
at
question.
At some
though.
point, we probably liked each other.
No, that don't. See,
I
that's
ain't
the
gonna
thing.
lie. See,
Everybody.
I'm of the idea, right? If you're of the opposite sex, right? You're with somebody long enough. Somebody, it might not be both at the same time, but somebody is going to feel some kind of feelings at some point.
But I don't feel like he does not believe that you can be. Is it platonic? He doesn't feel like people of the opposite sex can be platonic friends. I personally think they can. That does not mean I have to go around and have a lot of male friends, but I do have friends, quote unquote, I say friends lightly. I have people that I'm still cool with, that we still check up on, that I ran track with in college.
Maybe it's because growing up, I've never
had you, because you had the Mac on everybody you was friends with. That's not true. You portrayed your own self.
That's not true.
Okay.
You're portraying something.
No, you portraying yourself. How was we friends first and before anything? Guess what? You had to put the Mac on, so you can't just be friends.
I didn't put the Mac on you. We just started liking each other.
I was just friends with you.
Genuine friends.
Yeah, but you made the move. You made the move. I didn't make no move on you. Because you made the move. But I think you can be friends with somebody. Now, obviously, we got a lot closer, but we don't have to be that level of friends. I feel like I'm friends with people that we check up on each other every couple months, every 3-4 months. We have FaceTime, and that's it. We're not friends to the point where we talking every day. I don't think I would do that when somebody of the opposite sex.
Okay,
that's just me personally.
Okay, let's say okay, you believe that you can be friends with opposite sex. Okay, so
it's levels to friendship though.
That's fine. So how often can you spend time with someone of the opposite sex then? That's the question then, since you believe.
But what's the like time? That's physically with each other, on the phone with each other, FaceTiming each other, texting each other.
How often do you?
I don't talk to people. I don't ever spend time with somebody of the opposite sex.
I know.
But it's not that I don't think it would be that I wouldn't. It's just I don't have it.
You just don't think it's impossible for it to be a platonic thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible. Like if I had a friend, I've had friends to come in town. I have had friends to come in town, and if they would have said, "Oh, I'm in town, let's go grab some food," I would have been fine with it. But
that's kind of different.
But how is that any different?
Wait, hold on. By yourself? Like he in town, y'all go eat by yourself?
Yeah, like I don't see anything wrong with that.
Nah, bro. So see, it has to be a third party.
I wouldn't.
It has to be
I wouldn't do it because I know
another female or something.
Yeah, all the times that I have that my friends have come in, it's been most of my friends at the time, but it was a guy that came in, but it was also a girl that came in town. So we all.
I think it's because my experiences, bro. Like I've never.
But you cannot put that on everybody else.
Every platonic friend I've had, let's say in high school, because that's when I started, I guess, dating and feeling females and stuff. But it's like every platonic friendship I had, it at least turned to just like some kind of talking.
But it don't have to be like that.
I don't know, bro.
I've been friends with a lot of guys that I had no feelings for.
A lot.
Yes, I mean all through college. Like I was friends / school, but I said it's levels to friendship. It's levels to friendship. Like we was cool enough to go eat in the cabs together. I'm not saying we was best friends, but it was the point where like if they said, "Oh, I'm about to go off campus, ride with me," then I would do it. But I had no feelings. We didn't have feelings for each other. But I was an athlete, Shad, so you had to think we were teammates. Like so, it's still teammates. People that I was teammates with. If they came to town, it's like, "Hey, I'm in town." I'm like, "Okay, look, it's a restaurant. I know somewhere we can go grab some food." I don't think nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't go because you feel uncomfortable, but it would be strictly because of you, not because I think anything is wrong.
Trust you.
I think the biggest thing with me would just be
just in general.
I wouldn't trip if you did it. You don't have any female friends, but you work in a female dominated profession.
Correct.
So it's been times where you went to eat with your coworkers and I did a trip.
One time.
Okay, it's been
and it was
time.
2 coworkers, so it wasn't by myself. See, when it's more than one, I
guess to take the intimacy out of it, but still, my point is, if as long as you tell me that you're going to eat with somebody, and it's not, I feel like once the point that you hide it or you trying to be secretive about it, that's when it's weird.
It's weird. So, like I said, it was 3 of us. It wasn't just 2. So when we went out to eat.
But I didn't have an issue. I didn't have an issue. Even if it would have been one of your coworkers. Me personally, I would not have an issue. Just me personally. If you would tell me to say, "Hey, I'm going out to eat with so-and-so,
you know I'm trustworthy, so
I wouldn't have an issue with that. But maybe if it became a habit, then I'd be okay.
Now, yes, if it became a habit, that's
not you. I don't have to worry about you ever being away from the house because you don't like being away from the house.
That's. So now, before we get off of here, I want to discuss one more thing. All right. So, what is too much? How how much is too much when it comes to sharing information about your marriage to your friend? Like,
or is it too much?
Is
there a limit?
Is there a limit?
I'm not one to run to my friends and tell about, not in any particular reason, but I don't necessarily run to my friends and tell them about my marriage. One reason maybe just because I know Shad is a very private person, so like I'm not even necessarily like a super private person, but I know Shad is a very private person, so I like out of respect for him, I don't really run in tell stuff that I know he would not be doing to his friends. So like I feel like you talk to your boys, but it's not really a lot.
Here's
like,
the thing with that. My limit is I think certain people need a limit, and certain people that you can glean from, you can share a little bit more.
Yeah.
So for instance, I have a mentor that's older than me, a friend that's older than me, that's been married for an extended period of time. I know I can go to him with certain things. He's not going to be ratting me out to the whole town. He's going to give me sound advice of how he handled certain things that he went through that was similar to what I'm going through. And so it can help me have a deeper perspective on how I deal with my wife. Now, certain other friends that, no offense, that may not be someone that I would glean from or someone that I don't necessarily trust as much as certain people, then I might not reveal certain things because they might blab out my mouth or they might not give me sound advice anyway. So what's the point of even going to you with whatever?
Sometimes you
because then it's like balance, because if you go around town talking about how your spouse A, B, and C.
Nobody going around town talking about.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying if I was to go around town texting everybody about, see what my wife done said, it got on my nerve. She getting on my nerve. A, B, and C, all doing that A, B, stupid stuff. And what you're doing is you're ruining the reputation of your spouse by constantly talking about your issues to everybody. So you need to have a selected group of people that you can go to, that you can confide in, that can give you sound advice back, and we can go and actually fix the relationship. Because at that point, it just becomes a bunch of blab and gossip about your spouse.
Yeah, and that's really, I can't remember where I heard it, but I've heard it several times, but it was like, if you going through marital, of course, if it's like on some abuse level, then you need to tell somebody. But if you're going through marital issues or disputes, like, you don't be hesitant to tell like people who gonna hold a grudge against that person, or if they're not gonna easily forget it. Like, it needs to be somebody who kind of like obviously know both of y'all, but unbiased to the situation. Because if I run and tell, I don't know, my mom or my sisters every time that we have an issue, then obviously they're gonna take my side more times than not, because I'm their sister, I'm their family. So it's like, then they also not gonna forget that I'm like, oh, I remember one time she complained that Sean did X, Y, Z, and it's like, yeah, it really wasn't a big deal. Like, it was a big issue at that time, but we got over it. We forgot about it, but some people not gonna easily forget about it because they're not unbiased in the situation. So I feel like it's a limit to what I don't share my personal escapades about certain things. I mean, because some girlfriends go and
tell talking about like sexual stuff.
Yeah, some girlfriends go tell that stuff. I personally am not one to share. But I also don't have very many married friends.
Our friend group, our close friend group, we talk about our close friend group. We'll do this. See, the men we'll do that. See, the women, they be acting outside and stuff. Our friend group,
but you're not sharing personal stuff.
Oh, yeah, we don't go that. You're right. We don't go that deep.
Some girls do.
We just talk about surface stuff and what we're not getting or what we are getting.
Boy, get out of here.
To my ever-loving wife, during the last year, I have attempted to make love to you 365 times. I succeeded 36 times. This averages once every 10 days. And the following is a list of reasons why I did not succeed. It's too hot, 15 times. It's too cold, 3 times. I'm too tired, 19 times. It's too late, 16 times. It's too early, 9 times. Pretending to sleep, 35 times. I'm not in the mood, 21 times. Mind my hair, 28 times. Is that all you think about? 83 times.
Whatever.
But I personally don't do that. Now, I don't have a lot of married friends, so that is also one reason why, because it's no point. Most of my friends are either in relationships or just not in relationships but not married, or not in relationships. So I'm not gonna boast, not even boast. I'm not gonna talk about my sexual encounters when I know that's not something you're going to do right now.
It sounds like
it's
it sounds like you might be boasting, or it sounds like you might be
boasting.
throwing
it's
shots.
Like, what's the point of bringing that up to you? Now, I have weird friends who like are in a position that I was in, or like saving themselves or whatever, and so they'll ask questions like actual informative questions, or like, what is it like XYZ, or like dealing with XYZ, like, and if it's a constructive conversation, then I feel like there's no limit. If I feel like I'm trying to help somebody grow, then I don't feel like it's necessarily, if I'm chilling, for example, in our life, we struggle with XYZ, but I'm not doing it to the point of like, to tell too much TMI or to bash when I see together. Right. But I mean, not that I ever bash you on purpose. But I do have conversations like with Kelly or Reese. I have conversations with them because I look at them as mentors and friends. You look at them. I have conversations with them, but I still don't bash them. But I'm gonna be a little bit more real with our relationship. That's what I'm saying. That's fine because I trust them. Because I feel like I can glean from them.
And you can glean from them, so that's cool too.
Because they've been married a lot longer.
Because I've only done that a few times.
What'd you say?
It wasn't like bad, but you know
what is bad?
When you're frustrated and you go to your friend, hey man, shoot, she ain't be received, man. Let me see these text messages. And it's supposed to be like in person. Don't necessarily be a text message.
I have a text message because I be going in. No.
Crazy, man. Anyways.
No, I know. But I feel like it's a limit, especially if it's not constructive. Now sometimes you just need to vent. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with venting, but you need to filter who you vent to, because you may just be saying it, get off your chest, but other people are taking mental notes of it. And I even do it. I would admit I do it with my friends. If they come to me with their problems, obviously I'm gonna take the side of right, but as a girlfriend, you just know a lot of times you're gonna take your girlfriend's side. So it's like, but if they come to me,
if she wrong.
That's what I said. I'm gonna take the side of right. But if it's not a situation that's like black and white, bad and good, it just be like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have done that, or be like, girl, you ain't gotta put up with that. Like, that's I feel like 9 times out of 10 you like kind of go into that. But so I'm not necessarily saying I always take my girlfriend's side, but you will take a mental note of like, it's sometimes it's hard to forget. You don't want to see your girlfriend be in situations that like obviously aren't the best situation. That's anyway. My sisters, anything like so, and it's been probably stuff that my sisters have kept from me about relationships they've been in. Because it's like you don't want to leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth. Say you had an argument with somebody and then y'all smoothed it over. If you would have told them everything that went down, it was like a fool. Exactly, because y'all don't
bad mouth or whatever. Your boyfriend or husband.
Y'all got over it.
And y'all got over it. Now all of a sudden, now your friend's still salty at the dude because you didn't drag him through the mud and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's just like you got to think about that. And I mean, I think about that too. I'm not a person that just talks to be talking. I feel like I'm not.
Neither one of us are.
Yeah, so that's just how I did. So I feel like yes and no. There's a limit, but there's asterisks. Certain things have limits. I'm not very talking about certain things. Certain things just need to stay private. But
yeah, there's certain things that probably don't never be said slick, but between me and God, bro, me, my wife and Yah is true, but yeah, this is a really good episode about friends. And before I end, I guess, you don't have to have a lot of friends either. You don't have to have like a big group. It could be a small circle, because I am a very small circle. I don't extend a friend loosely. It's not a loose concept to me. It's very a whole friendship near and dear for sure. So that's why my circle is very small, and I've had a lot of peace with it being small.
I haven't had my circle not as small as yours, but I haven't had no.
It's not that much bigger than me either, though.
I mean, but I have a lot of people that I'm cool with that I would consider friends.
So yeah, this is a good episode. Very enjoyable. So put in the comments what you want us to talk about maybe next, or just some more suggestions on what you want to hear from us. This is a good episode about friends and what you think about friends and all that kind of stuff. Just give us your insight in the comments. Or in the live chat if you're watching live. Thank y'all for tuning in. This has been Shabbat Conversations with Chris and Shad. We'll see y'all later. Holla. Shalom.